In the heart of Harlem, New York City, a young man named Sean John Combs began a journey that would redefine hip-hop culture. Born on November 4th, 1969, his childhood was shaped by both ambition and tragedy. When he was just 2 years old, his father, Melvin Combs, a known associate of a drug dealer, was shot and killed. That loss left a deep scar, but also lit an inner fire. The streets of Harlem could either break a man or make him legendary. Diddy chose the latter. In his late teens, Combs attended Howard University, where his charisma quickly stood out. Though he never finished his degree, he made connections that would set the stage for his empire. Starting as an intern at Uptown Records, Diddy displayed relentless energy, the kind that never slept, never accepted no, and never stayed in one lane. Soon, he was producing for rising stars and shaping the sound of early 90s R&B and rap. When Uptown executives dismissed him in 1993, many thought it was the end. Instead, it became his new beginning. He launched Bad Boy Records, signing artists like the Notorious B.I.G., Faith Evans, Untold, and Maze. The label's success skyrocketed, creating an entire era of hip-hop glamour, champagne, silk suits, and million-dollar videos. Diddy wasn't just a producer. He became a brand. By the late 1990s, he was everywhere. Music, fashion, film, television, and even reality shows. He launched his clothing line Sean John, which won a Council of Fashion Designers of America award. He rebranded himself multiple times: Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Love, but the core identity remained: unstoppable ambition. From selling millions of records to producing Grammy-winning albums, Diddy was hip-hop royalty. He symbolized success, the transition from the ghetto to global influence. But beneath that shining empire, stories were quietly brewing, stories of control, excess, and moral decay. The image of a self-made mogul began to clash with whispers of darker behavior behind closed doors. As the 2010s arrived, the world saw Diddy as a mentor, businessman, and philanthropist. Yet, within Hollywood and the music industry, rumors about his private lifestyle became difficult to ignore. Parties that blurred legal and ethical boundaries, strange reports from former associates, and unsettling claims from ex-partners hinted that the empire might not be as pure as it seemed. It was the perfect image hiding a dangerous secret. And soon, the secret would begin to unravel. The turning point came quietly, then exploded across global media. In late 2023, a series of lawsuits were filed against Sean Combs by several women, most notably by his former longtime partner, Cassie Ventura, who accused him of years of abuse, sexual assault, and coercion. Cassie's case sent shockwaves across the entertainment world. Within hours, social media erupted with disbelief and outrage. Though Combs initially denied all claims, the details were disturbing. The lawsuit described physical violence, forced acts, and human trafficking like control disguised as a relationship. The complaint triggered others to come forward, women and former employees who claimed they, too, had seen or experienced similar patterns. By early 2024, federal authorities had begun investigating the mogul for potential sex trafficking and racketeering. Search warrants were executed at his properties in Los Angeles and Miami, seizing electronic devices and documents. Helicopters hovered above his mansions as agents carried boxes out of his homes, images that painted a stunning fall from grace for one of hip-hop's biggest icons. What had once been dismissed as gossip suddenly became a full-scale criminal probe. The U.S. Attorney's Office alleged that Diddy used his wealth, power, and connections to recruit and control women for sexual purposes, transporting them across state lines for parties that prosecutors later described as organized acts of exploitation. The press called it the Bad Boy scandal. Inside the courtroom filings, the allegations painted a portrait of excess: private jets, luxury hotels, and so-called freak-offs, gatherings that combined glamour with degradation. In the months that followed, the music industry split down the middle. Some former allies distanced themselves, deleting photos and statements of support. Others maintained his innocence, arguing that the media was running a trial before the courts could speak. But the investigation was relentless. By June 2024, Diddy officially faced multiple federal charges, including transportation of individuals for prostitution or illegal sexual activity across state lines, conspiracy to commit racketeering, money laundering, coercion, and obstruction of justice. The case drew comparisons to other powerful men brought down by abuse scandals, from Harvey Weinstein to R. Kelly, but with one crucial difference. Diddy's empire extended into nearly every corner of American entertainment and business. By the time his trial began in mid-2025, the question wasn't just about guilt or innocence. It was about how far power could stretch before accountability caught up. When the trial of Sean Diddy Combs opened in a federal courtroom in New York in May 2025, it became one of the most watched celebrity cases of the decade. The proceedings stretched for months, revealing disturbing testimony and never-before-seen footage from years of investigation. Every major news outlet covered it daily, and clips from the courthouse dominated social media. Prosecutors described a secret world hidden behind the glamour of fame, a network of assistants, bodyguards, and employees who allegedly enabled Combs' misconduct. According to the government's case, women were flown from city to city under the promise of professional opportunities only to face manipulation and sexual coercion. The prosecution called it a system of exploitation disguised as entertainment. Former associates took the stand and recounted scenes of lavish parties that blurred the line between consent and control. One former security guard testified about being ordered to confiscate phones and monitor guests during private events. Others spoke about a culture of fear where no one questioned Diddy's commands. The defense countered aggressively. His attorneys argued that the government was overreaching, that the relationships in question were consensual and adult, and that the witnesses were motivated by money and attention. They reminded the jury that none of the alleged incidents had been prosecuted when they supposedly occurred, suggesting that memories had been twisted by the public frenzy. Diddy sat calmly through most of the testimony, occasionally taking notes or whispering to his lawyers. He appeared confident, dressed sharply each day, projecting the same control that built his empire. Yet, the mood in the courtroom shifted when prosecutors presented video evidence from seized devices. The footage, shown to the jury but not released publicly, reportedly corroborated parts of the accuser's stories. As weeks turned into months, the trial became less about music and more about morality, about what unchecked fame can hide. After 8 weeks of testimony and 2 days of deliberation, the jury returned its verdict on September 29, 2025. Sean Combs was found guilty on 2 counts of transporting individuals across state lines for prostitution, but acquitted on the more serious charges of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, as well as racketeering. The mixed verdict stunned both sides. Supporters claimed it proved he wasn't the monster the media portrayed. Critics argued that even the lesser convictions confirmed years of abuse of power. Combs showed little visible reaction as the verdict was read, though witnesses said his hands trembled slightly when the word "guilty" echoed in the courtroom. On October 3, 2025, the courtroom filled again for sentencing. Cameras were banned, but reporters described a heavy, almost surreal atmosphere. The man once celebrated for throwing the most glamorous parties in music now faced judgment for what prosecutors called crimes of corruption and control. The judge acknowledged Combs' contributions to culture and philanthropy, but emphasized that power cannot shield wrongdoing. He sentenced Diddy to 50 months in federal prison, just over 4 years, plus a $500,000 fine and 5 years of supervised release after his term. In the statement read by the judge, Diddy was described as a talented man who lost his moral compass in pursuit of control. Outside the courthouse, reactions were explosive. Fans wept, reporters scrambled for comments, and social media became a battlefield of opinions. Hashtags like #FreeDiddy and #JusticeForVictims trended simultaneously. Some fans called the sentence harsh. Others saw it as overdue justice for years of impunity in the entertainment industry. In the music world, business consequences came swiftly. Corporate partners paused collaborations. Ciroc and De Leon, his signature liquor brands, faced public relations crises. Revolt TV, the media company he founded, issued a statement distancing itself from the legal outcome while thanking supporters for allowing justice to take its course. Fellow musicians reacted with mixed emotions. Some veterans of the hip-hop scene defended him as a man being punished by the system. Others spoke about finally believing the women who had stayed silent for years. For many younger artists, the trial marked a generational shift, a signal that the era of untouchable moguls was ending. Inside prison, reports later surfaced that Combs had been placed in a high-security facility for his own protection. Rumors spread of an early altercation where another inmate allegedly threatened him, though officials refused to confirm details. His attorneys filed for improved safety conditions, and within weeks, Combs was transferred to a lower-risk facility. The image of Diddy, once seen walking red carpets surrounded by stars, now reduced to a prison ID and uniform, became one of the defining cultural moments of 2025. Despite the conviction, the legal story was far from over. Combs' defense team quickly announced plans to appeal both the verdict and the sentence. In their filings, they argued that the court had allowed prejudicial evidence that biased the jury and that certain witnesses had changed their statements under public pressure. Legal experts predicted that the appeal would take years, possibly extending into 2027. In the meantime, Diddy remains incarcerated with a projected release date of May 8, 2028, assuming good behavior and completion of required programs. While in custody, he reportedly began attending counseling sessions and faith-based rehabilitation programs. Sources close to his family say he spends most days reading, writing, and exercising, avoiding the spotlight that once defined him. Outside prison walls, his empire continues to unravel. Lawsuits from former employees and civil claims from accusers remain pending. Bad Boy Records, once a symbol of dominance, now operates quietly under new management. Some artists still speak respectfully of the man who gave them a start. Others refuse to associate their legacy with his name. The entertainment industry has begun to reckon with its culture of silence. For decades, power protected stars from scrutiny. Now, accountability has become the new standard. Commentators point to Diddy's downfall as a cautionary tale that talent and wealth can never justify exploitation. Public opinion remains divided. To some, Diddy is a fallen icon whose mistakes destroyed a legacy. To others, he is a victim of overzealous prosecution. But for the victims and their advocates, the conviction marked acknowledgement after years of disbelief. As of late 2025, appeals are ongoing. There are reports that Diddy's legal team is negotiating possible sentence modifications based on cooperation with other investigations, though no details have been confirmed. Whether he ever returns to the public eye remains uncertain. Redemption in the court of law may be possible, but redemption in the court of public opinion will take much longer. In the broader cultural landscape, the case has forced a painful reflection on the intersection of fame, power, and accountability. The same charisma that built empires can also conceal darkness. The same system that rewards talent can also enable abuse when unchecked. Sean Diddy Combs once declared himself the greatest, a symbol of the American dream, from Harlem streets to global wealth. But in 2025, that dream turned into a story of downfall and reckoning. The Diddy case is not only a legal drama but a mirror held up to an industry built on image and influence. It reminds the world that even those at the top are not beyond the reach of justice. Fame fades, power shifts, but truth, once uncovered, cannot be hidden again. The man who once called himself love now faces the hardest reality of all, a world that no longer sees him as untouchable. His story is a warning and a lesson. No matter how high one rises, accountability eventually arrives. And so ends the story, not of P. Diddy the legend, but of Sean Combs, the man forced to confront the consequences of his own empire.